Welcome to our channel, where we bring history to life. If you're new here, do hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Now, let's dive into the events of April 17th, 2025. Picture a cool spring morning in Durham, England. The historic Durham Cathedral, a symbol of tradition and faith, was set to host the Royal Maundy Thursday service. The streets, lined with spectators, were filled with an air of anticipation, waiting for the arrival of King Charles and Queen Camilla. The Royal Maundy Thursday service, a solemn religious ceremony dating back centuries, was expected to be a dignified event, steeped in ritual and reverence, but as the royal car pulled up, the scene dramatically shifted. Instead of respectful silence or cheers, the air was filled with boos and chants. The crowd of spectators had morphed into a sea of protesters. The atmosphere was electric with tension. The voices of the crowd, unified in their discontent, echoed off the cathedral's ancient stone walls. These weren't mere hecklers. They were ordinary citizens, voicing their frustration at a monarchy they felt increasingly disconnected from. The royal couple, known for their grace under pressure, maintained their composure. Yet the impact of the public's outcry was evident. The boos were not just about King Charles and Queen Camilla, nor were they solely about this particular event. They were a crescendo of pent-up frustration, a public outcry against a royal institution that many felt was out of touch with the struggles of everyday life. As the royals stepped out of their car, the air was thick with tension, filled with the voices of a disgruntled public. The traditional image of a unified and reverent crowd was replaced with a powerful display of dissent. This was not just a protest. It was a stark reminder of the widening gap between the monarchy and the people they are meant to represent. The echoes of discontent that morning in Durham were a clear sign that the British monarchy was facing a legitimacy crisis, one that could potentially change the course of British history. The question remains, how will the monarchy respond? And perhaps more importantly, are the British people ready for real change? But what were these boos and chants about? They were not simply expressions of dissatisfaction with the day's events. No, they were the echoes of a public that is increasingly discontented, that feels overlooked in the grand narrative of royalty and privilege. These protesters weren't just voicing their disapproval of the royal couple's arrival, they were expressing deeper frustrations. Frustrations that have been building up, simmering beneath the surface of the British society. They were giving voice to a multitude of issues that have been plaguing the everyday lives of ordinary citizens. Think about the cost of living crisis. Prices are rising, wages are stagnating, and people are finding it harder and harder to make ends meet. They're struggling to put food on the table, to keep a roof over their heads, and yet they see the royal family living in opulence, their every whim catered to by taxpayers' money. Couple this with the underfunded public services. Hospitals are stretched thin, schools are struggling, and social care is in dire straits. The people are crying out for help, for resources, for support, but their pleas seem to fall on deaf ears. Instead, they see the royal family untouched by these hardships, continuing to live in comfort and luxury. And then there's the growing inequality. The gap between the rich and the poor is widening, and the royal family, with their vast wealth and privilege, seems to embody this divide. They represent an institution that is rooted in a past where birthright determined your status, where the many served the few. The boos and chants on that April day were not just about the day's events. They were a reflection of a deeper frustration with an institution that appears to resist accountability, that clings to tradition at the expense of progress, that seems out of touch with the realities of modern life. The boos were not just for the day. They were a reflection of a deeper frustration with an institution that appears to resist accountability. It's clear that the monarchy, once a beloved symbol of unity and tradition, is now facing a crisis of legitimacy. This shift in public sentiment has been a long time coming, and the presence of King Charles and Queen Camilla at the Maundy Thursday service only served to further stoke the fires of public discontent. Their rise to the throne was not without controversy. King Charles, previously Prince of Wales, has been a divisive figure due to his history of alleged interference in politics. Likewise, Queen Camilla, formerly the Duchess of Cornwall, has also faced backlash due to her role in the highly publicised breakdown of Charles's first marriage. Their presence at a religious event, meant to symbolise humility and service, seemed to many a stark contrast to the reality of their privileged lives. But the discontent runs deeper than just the king and queen. The monarchy itself, as an institution, has been facing increasing scrutiny. The British Empire, once the most powerful in the world, left a legacy of colonialism and exploitation that continues to impact many countries today. Yet the monarchy has largely remained silent on this dark chapter of its history, leading to accusations of a lack of accountability. Furthermore, the monarchy has been plagued by a series of internal scandals over the years. From allegations of royal family members' involvement in questionable business dealings to personal scandals shaking the very core of the institution, the monarchy's image has been significantly tarnished. In the face of these controversies, the monarchy's insistence on its own relevance and importance has only served to deepen public resentment. The protests in Durham were not just about King Charles and Queen Camilla, but a broader frustration with a monarchy seen as outdated and out of touch. The sound of dissent in Durham might just be a sign that the British people are ready for change. As we continue to grapple with pressing issues like inequality, climate change, and social justice, the question arises, is there still a place for a monarchy in 21st century Britain? Could these protests be a sign of a shift in public sentiment? As we delve into the significance of these protests, we must take into account the context in which they occurred. A Maundy Thursday service is not just any event. It is a solemn religious occasion steeped in centuries of tradition. It's a day that typically commands respect and reverence, yet on this particular day, it became a platform for public dissent. This is not a minor detail. It's a powerful statement about the depth of the discontentment felt by the public. Moreover, these protests were not an isolated incident, but rather part of a growing trend of dissatisfaction with the monarchy. Over the past few years, there have been increasing calls for greater transparency and accountability from the royal family, and a desire for a more modern, egalitarian society. This shift in public sentiment is not just about the monarchy as an institution, but also about what it represents, a system of privilege and inequality that feels increasingly out of step with the times. What's particularly striking is that these protests were not just directed at King Charles and Queen Camilla, but at the monarchy as a whole. There's a sense that the public is ready for a change, not just in the person who wears the crown, but in the very structure and function of the monarchy itself. Could this signify the beginning of a more significant shift? It's too early to say, but what's clear is that the public's patience with the monarchy is wearing thin. The boos and chants heard outside Durham Cathedral are a reminder that the monarchy is not invincible. It's a human institution, and like all human institutions, it can change. The events at Durham Cathedral on that Maundy Thursday might just be the beginning of a new chapter in British history. The echoes of those boos and chants in Durham are still reverberating across Britain. What started as a traditional Royal Maundy Thursday service ended up being a powerful display of public sentiment against the monarchy. As King Charles and Queen Camilla made their appearance at Durham Cathedral, they were greeted not with the usual respect and adulation, but with a chorus of disapproval from the citizens they rule over. This incident wasn't just about a single day or event. It was a manifestation of the growing disconnect between the monarchy and the ordinary lives of the British public. As people grapple with a cost of living crisis, underfunded public services, and widening inequality, the royal family continues to enjoy their wealth, privilege, and taxpayer-funded luxury. The discontent is not just about the present, it's a reflection of the monarchy's past and its resistance to change. The institution that was once revered as a symbol of unity and tradition is now faced with a crisis of legitimacy. The controversies surrounding King Charles and Queen Camilla's rise have only added fuel to the fire. The public's display of dissent on a religious and ceremonial occasion is a testament to the depth of their resentment. It's a clear message that many in Britain are yearning for change. But the question remains, what kind of change will this be? Will it lead to a more transparent and accountable monarchy? Or will it mark the beginning of the end for this centuries-old institution? The protest in Durham was a significant moment in history, a moment that could potentially usher in a new era for Britain. The monarchy's reaction to this public outcry will be crucial in determining its future. Will they adapt to the changing times, or will they continue to cling to the ways of the past? Only time will tell how these events will shape the future of the monarchy. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on all our latest content.